Welcome to our gentle class today. We are this week focusing on thoughts really, and sort of how our thoughts serve us or don't serve us, and how we can choose what we think. And I don't know if you've ever had this. Doesn't happen to me very often, but where you have words almost come out of your mouth and you suck them back. Usually they just fall out. But you know that feeling of you want to say something, but you think better of it. And you can also actually do that with your thoughts, right? A thought starts to arise and you can think, this is not going to be a thought that serves me, right? Some judgmental thought about yourself or someone else or some situation or whatever it is, or some gossip. And you can actually just sort of suck it back the way you would words and direct your attention elsewhere. So it's not about stopping the mind from thinking, because the mind is thinking all the time. It's deciding sort of what food we feed the mind. So, right, we probably wouldn't do very well on a diet of junk food all of the time. A little bit now and again is not going to kill us. But it's like what we put into our mind is like what we put into our body. So our thoughts are the mind's food, right? So we want to feed it things that are helpful to us and things that help us down our path, and things that are neutral or positive, as opposed to things that are damaging to ourselves or others. So today we're going to sort of practice noticing our thoughts and deciding where do we want to direct our attention. And so I'm always giving the options to bring your attention to the present moment. So again, to the body, right, to whatever sensations are happening. It's a great focus because it's also bringing in that mindfulness practice. You can use the breath as a focus. So we've been working with that quite a lot as well. You can even use the thoughts themselves as a focus. So just noticing what's passing through. So sounds in the room, things you can see, all of that can be a focus. So we're going to start seated today. Our in the physical practice, we'll be looking a lot at the upper body, shoulders and neck, and that whole area, upper back, chest area. So we'll start seated. So you can be on a chair or on the floor, whatever is comfortable for you. So as you come to a comfortable seated position, start to settle there. Feel the pressure of your seat on the ground or the chair. Make a little adjustment if you need to here and there to be as comfortable as possible. And let's take a moment to tune in. So let's start with the outer. So notice as we take some silence together, just notice the sounds around you. You might hear sounds from through the computer. You might hear sounds in your own environment. Just notice for a moment what is present to your ears right now. So as you've tuned into what you hear around you, maybe other thoughts have drawn your attention away. And that's, again, quite normal. Bring your attention back. And now tuning into sensations in your body. So just noticing where something is noticeable in your body. So where there's maybe pressure, where you're sitting, or where your hands are touching you. And it can be very subtle. It doesn't have to be anything very obvious. If it's painful or uncomfortable, it might be more obvious. But I encourage you not to dwell your attention on what's uncomfortable. But notice it, don't ignore it, and then let your attention find an area that's neutral or comfortable in your body. So you're just noticing, and if you don't feel much, notice that. You can tune into your breath and see if you can feel its movement in your body. And then let's tune into the mind. Let's direct the spotlight right at the thoughts that are passing through. And if it helps you, you can imagine your mind like an open sky and your thoughts are clouds that pass by. So rather than grabbing a hold of a cloud and going with it, just notice. We'll take a minute or so to simply be aware of what thoughts bubble up and move on. So these thoughts are always bubbling up, and we always have the choice whether to take a hold and follow them, follow a particular thought, or choose our own path. So taking time to even just notice that thoughts can come and go and that we can choose where we direct our attention can be really powerful. Well, let's take a couple of deeper breaths together. Just feeling that expansion wherever you notice it in your body as you breathe a little more deeply. And the next time you're inhaling, you can draw the shoulders up toward the ears. And then as you exhale, letting the shoulders release back down. And let's do that a few times. Inhale, lift, and feel your whole spine grow long. Keep that length as you exhale and let the shoulders release. And then again, inhale and lengthen up through the whole body, and exhale, keep that length as the shoulders release. So a couple more at your own pace. My breath rate, my talking rate may be quite different from what's comfortable for you. Right, now let's add a little bit of movement, and we're going to we'll do these pieces one at a time to begin with. So we'll do some shoulder rolls first. So drawing the shoulders up and back. So you're going in a circle, and then we can add a kind of cat-cow movement with the spine. So as the shoulders come forward, letting the spine round. As the shoulders roll back, letting the back arch. So rounding as the shoulders come forward. And really, if it feels like a lot to coordinate, just move your spine, move your shoulders in whatever way feels right for you. You can coordinate breath with this as you like. Good. And then let's come back to center with the hands on the thighs. We'll do some circles with the torso. And I'm going to encourage you to go really slowly and really notice the nuances of sensation. Right? So feel when the weight shifts onto one hand, the other hand. Feel any stretch. For me, it's sort of in the back sides of my waist as I go around. I notice when that stretch starts and then when it ends as I rotate. So keep that awareness for yourself. Circle the other way a few times. Really tuning into what you feel, what you notice, getting into your body. We spend so much time following random thoughts, we forget about these wonderful bodies that carry us around. And they need our care, our attention. And our attention is big, right? When we give our attention to something, we're showing our care. Coming back to the center, let's come back to just a regular cat-cow movement. So inhale, arching, exhale, rounding. Just a couple of times to reset back in the center. Great, and then coming to a comfortable seat again. And if at any point, if you need to move your legs, please do. If you need to stretch out or come to a different position, please do. The main thing when you're sitting is that your spine isn't twisted or to one side or the other, that your weight is even on your sit bones. But other than that, it doesn't matter. So from here, we'll turn the head to one side. And again, I invite you to move slowly and notice where you feel the very first level of restriction. And stop there. And then we'll come around to the front and we'll go slowly to the other side and notice when you feel just the very first bit of restriction. And then come back to the center. And then go back to the first side and find the place where it feels comfortable to stop. So it might be moving into that restriction a little. It might be right at that first bit of restriction. And then come back to center and other side. So you're noticing that first little bit of restriction and then maybe inviting a little more movement, maybe not. Coming back to the side, sort of back to center and then to the side. And this time drawing the chin down and making a little circle over on that side around sort of that area of first restriction. Little circles. Good. And then come back to the center, go to the other side. And again, find that really easeful first sort of place where your body says there's less movement here. And just circle around that area, towards it, away. Playing around with that edge just a little bit. Okay, and then come back to the center. And let's take the chin down toward the front of the chest. Keep your spine lifted, the chest lifting, and let the chin release down. You're not forcing it any way. It's really just gravity drawing you down. Right, and then slowly release and lift up. And then let's take one ear towards one shoulder. The opposite arm, you just want to really think about relaxing that shoulder. And for those of you who want more stretch and it wouldn't be a strain at all for your neck, you can take that arm out to the side, reach the fingertips toward the ground. And then playing around with that arm will move that stretch around, but it can be quite intense. So you can rotate the arm a little. You can slowly move it forward and back. You can lift and lower. So playing around with what feels good for you. You'll feel some stretch likely in the arm, the shoulder, and the neck. And then not too much here. Let's come back to the center. And we'll do a few little circles right around the center here. Just releasing after holding that stretch. And then you can come to center and we'll take the head down to the other side. So ear down toward the shoulder. Again, this may be just enough stretch for you, feeling the weight of your head here, and you may not want to do any more than that, and that's great. Just think about relaxing the shoulder away. And if you want more, you can start to move that arm, rotating from the shoulder, so palm is up, palm is down, moving the arm forward and back, and really slowly, so you can really tune in and notice. Lifting and lowering maybe. If it becomes too much, you just come right out of this at any time. This next can be delicate. Right. When you're ready, you can come back to the center. And again, just a few little circles around the center here. And then you can try sweeping your chin from one shoulder to the other, down across the front of your chest. Okay, and then let's come back to center and you can lift the head. A few rotations for the wrists here. In one direction and the other. You can try doing this with your hands in soft fists or open hands. See what gives you the right amount of stretch and the right feeling in your wrist where it feels like a nice, easeful movement, a little bit of stretch, not too much. Good. And then give them a gentle shake. Okay. And then palms together. Pressing the palms together, bring the heels of the hands down toward the ground, shoulders down, crown of the head lifting. Feel that little bit of strength in your arms as you press the palms together. Notice where you feel stretch, where you feel strength. If there's strain, let off the pressure a little bit or raise the hands up a bit. And you can also try stretching the fingers a bit by taking the heels of the hands away, but keeping the bases of your fingers and the fingertips touching. Right. And then make your hands into fists and fingertips down, backs of the hands coming together. And you can roll around here, around the hands, just nice gentle circles, one way and the other. Right. And then let's bring the hands together. And we'll lift up with a big breath in. Exhale, big circle around. You can either just hold the hands back behind you, or you might interlace your fingers and lift the heart. Take a couple of breaths here. So feeling openness in the front, gentle contraction, drawing in and down with your shoulder blades, relaxing your jaw. And then arms come out to the sides. You're going to reach out, palms forward, thumbs up, reach the fingers wide. Take a big breath in, and we're going to cross one arm over the other as you exhale. Bring your hands to opposite shoulders. Let your shoulders soften and relax down. And then you can allow your head to come down a little bit. You can even allow your upper back to round a bit if that's comfortable for you. And take a couple of breaths here. Try not to collapse your lower back. So it's mostly an upright position. Just a little more stretch in the back of the neck and upper back. And then let's open wide. Notice which arm is on top. Open wide. Good. Lifting up all the way to the ceiling. Reach the hands together and palms back to the heart. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, big circle. Maybe bringing the hands together, maybe just keeping them side by side, somehow behind you, lifting the heart for a couple of breaths. Try to really relax your neck. Relax the base of your skull, right where your head meets the neck and the back. So you can even do a little movement with your head here, just to make sure you're not holding tension there. Right, and then slowly release, arms out to the sides. Do you remember which arm was on top? We're going to do the other arm this time. So giving yourself a hug, let the shoulders release. If it feels really normal and easy, you probably did the same side twice, but maybe you remembered. It's surprisingly hard to keep that in our minds. And that's not a bad thing, because we're so focused right now on breath, movement, and being present. So again, you can bring your head down, round your upper back a little bit, take a few breaths. Keeping a sense of uprightness, while allowing the top of the spine to release a little here. If it feels better for your back to stay more upright, then please stay more upright. All right, let's open wide with the arms. Good, palms up, reach out now with your fingertips again, and then lift all the way up, breathing in. Hands come together, exhale, and let's come all the way down and release. And we're going to stretch out the legs. So if you're on a chair, you're going to want to come down to the ground. If you're sitting on a cushion, probably want to come off that cushion now and come down to the ground. So your weight can be resting behind you on your hands, hands on the floor, and just a little movement with the hips. So we've been sitting for a while now. So just waking up, especially if your legs have fallen asleep at all. A little bit side to side, and then as you go, if you want to make that movement bigger, you can maybe release that back arm as you bring the knees closer to the ground. So moving in a way that feels good. If your hips start to walk forward, shift them back or bring your hands forward with them, either way. Great, and then let's come back to the center, to wherever you were, and bring your knees in close. You can use your hands around your legs or hold a hand or a wrist to hold yourself upright. And then bring your head down, take a few breaths here, sort of in a sideways child's pose. And if you like, you can even come into a tighter ball if you've got the space. Wrapping your arms around your legs, bringing your head right in. And then we're going to slowly let the legs come apart, reach down for the ankles. The other option here is to bring your hands behind you, and that's going to make it a little easier. And we'll let the knees come to the side. So hands behind you if you need that support. You can also use your hands on your ankles and just think about really lifting up from there, coming onto your sit bones. And then just a little movement with your knees. So the knees can gently bounce. Go to the sides, as long as that's comfortable. Always, always, always listen to your body. So if your hips are saying no way, then just come back in with your knees a little closer together. Right, and then let's bend the knees. And then we'll swing the legs around and come on to hands and knees. So here, if child's pose is comfortable, move from all fours to child's pose. Otherwise, all fours to cat. So soft elbows, chest moving forward, elbows drawing back. Head in line with your spine as you inhale, and then as you exhale, rounding, chin coming in. There's nothing to see in front of you, so that the head really release inwards towards you. And then follow your own breath rhythm, your own pace, your own time. You can take a moment in child's pose if you like, but before you go there, you might take the knees a little bit apart. Now, if you want to do a modification where you come onto the elbows, that's totally fine. You can keep the knees together if you like, or if it's comfortable for you, take the knees a little bit apart, a little more room for your belly and a little more opening in the hips. And then you can either rest on your forearms, or you can let your head come onto your hands or onto the ground. And we'll take a few breaths here. And we'll use this as a moment also to check in with the thoughts, the patterns, and are we choosing where we put our attention, or is our attention choosing for us? So again, you can come back to that idea of watching your thoughts move through like those clouds or bubbles. You might choose to bring your awareness back to your breath, or back to your body, or back to the sounds around you, to come back into this present moment. When you're ready, move back up to all fours. And we're going to bring one foot forward, so however you want to get there. So one foot in front of the other, doesn't matter which. And then you can come onto your fingertips, lift up your back knee, and we'll come into warrior. Now, if my way of getting there is not right for you, you can find your way to this position. And then we'll bring the hands up onto the front knee. And then think about lifting the heart a little bit, and lifting the chest, a little lift through the tail. And then from there, press right down into your back foot, let your body lift upright. You can move that front leg straight as you come upright. We'll bend the back knee a little, and then straighten the back leg, bend the front knee. So a little bit back and forth. Find your own rhythm here. If you need to take your arms out for balance, you can. I noticed a little wobble in myself there. Great. So with that front knee a little bit bent, we'll lift up into Warrior One. And exhale, bring your arms forward. Good. Inhale, take the arms apart, so into this kind of position, out to the sides. Exhale, forward. Inhale, lift. And exhale, bring your hands down to your front knee. Great. So this time again, inhale, lift. So whichever arm is in front, we're going to lower that, whichever leg is in front, lower that arm. And then start to, when the arms are opposite each other, start to lift the back arm as you lower the front arm, drawing the thighs towards each other, looking back towards your back hand, and then windmill back the other way, the way you came. So coming back to Warrior One. Good. Exhale, arms down, right out in front, sorry. Inhale, open. So elbows to the sides, chest open. Good. Exhale, forward. Inhale, lift. Good. Exhale, hands onto your front knee. So again, you want to think about lifting the tail a little, long torso. And then whichever leg is in front, we're going to keep the opposite hand on the knee. And take the other arm and swing it straight back. So your palm is facing towards your body. And then if you like, you can turn to look behind you if you can find your balance there. Good. And then release back to the front. We'll bring the hands down and let's step forward. So we're on one side for quite a bit there. So let's take a moment in between. You can bring your elbows to your thighs if you like, or hang forward. We'll do a few forward bends, moving in and out of that pose. So we'll come up with a breath in. And exhale, bending the knees, coming forward as you exhale. Follow your own breath rhythm, or follow the pace that feels right for you, breathing at a comfortable pace as well. Right. Now, next time you come forward, you can stay there for a moment, and we're going to step back with the other foot. So whichever foot was forward is now going to step back, so we're changing sides. And then bring your hands up onto your front knee. Find that little lift in your chest, so we don't want to be rounded through the back if possible. Lift through the chest, a little lift in the tail. Feel your legs strong, so they're doing most of the work here. And then when you're ready, inhale, lift. Exhale, arms out in front. Inhale, elbows back. Exhale, reach out in front. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to your knee. So remember, you can always ignore the breath cues and just breathe normally and follow the movements. Okay, so we'll come up again, breathing in. And then arms forward, exhale. Inhale here. And as you exhale, lower whichever leg is forward, that arm is going to come back. You can let your torso turn a bit, maybe even look back towards your back hand. Take a breath here. And then slowly coming around to the front, lifting all the way up. Good. Exhale, hands to the knee. Good. Let's inhale again, coming up. Exhale, arms forward. Inhale, opening. So elbows back. Exhale, forward. With the arms, inhale, lift the arms. And then exhale, hands to your front knee. So again, we're looking for that lift in the tail, little lift in the heart. You can keep the hand now opposite to your front leg. So if it's your right leg forward, it's your left hand and vice versa. The other arm comes down, swinging back. And as it goes back, you can turn your body a little to look at that hand and breathe. So keep lengthening your spine. This hand on your leg can help to lift you tall. Good. Swinging the arm back. We'll come all the way up. Good. Exhale. Come forward. Let's step the back foot forward so both feet are together. Inhale, come up, both arms lifting as you lift your body. Exhale, bend your knees, come forward again. Coming up, breathing in if you're coordinating your breath. And moving forward as you exhale. Okay, and let's release the arms to the sides, staying upright as you get there this time. Wonderful. So a little twist, a little leg work, and we're going to work a little bit more with the legs. So coming into the half squat. We haven't done this one in a few weeks, I think. Not everyone's favorite, but it's a really good one for strengthening the legs. So when we come into the half squat, we want to think about the knees staying back as much towards over the ankles as possible. They can't go too far back or you'll fall over. But the difference is we don't want the knees to go past the toes, so you're really bending forward there. So knees stay as much upright as possible. Hips sink down, and then spine lifts up. So that's, I know it's kind of hard to see with my black clothing and the black background. At least it's hard for me to see that in the screen. But there's a little bit of an arch in the back, and that's all counterbalancing. Right, so that's the position. We'll move into and out of it dynamically, but I wanted to give you a little visual before we go in, so you can kind of think about that alignment as we go. So let's come onto the full soles of the feet. So feel your toes, feel the balls of your feet, feel your heels, and get a sense of really being rooted to the ground, stuck to the ground, like Velcro. And then from here, let's lift the arms up, breathing in. As you exhale, you can bring your hands to your thighs, keep your chest lifting, hips move back as you come into that awkward half squat. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, sit back. I was told originally that the translation of this pose is awkward pose. That's not actually true. The translation is literally like a half squat pose, but it is awkward. Okay, let's stay for a couple of breaths. As you're staying, think about knees moving back, heart lifting. You can use your hands to support you, pressing into your legs to keep the heart lifting. It should feel like a bit of work. It shouldn't feel like a strain. Good, let's lift up. And exhale to release. And give your legs a shake. So if you were doing Utkatasana fully, engaging all those muscles, getting into that right alignment, and your brain was focused on all of that, you probably weren't thinking about anything else. So that's one nice thing about being focused on something that really takes your attention, is that your mind is less likely and you're to go all over the place, and you're training it. You're training it to be focused on what you're doing. So anyway, let's give that a little shake. And then take the feet apart a little. Bring the hands to the hips and do a few circles. I'm not sure if the microphone is strong enough to pick up that really loud crack in my hip. Some of you are familiar with my cracky hips from classes in person. So you might also hear cracks. You might also feel different sensations in your hips as you move around. So for me, it feels different in different parts of the rotation. So you might tune into that as well. And as long as it's not painful. So if it is painful, you're going to modify the movement. You can always make it smaller or avoid areas that really feel pinchy or uncomfortable. All right, let's come back to the center. And we'll bring the feet underneath the hips again. And we're going to do a modified version of a pose called eagle pose. So eagle is a challenging balance pose. We're going to make it a little bit easier by having the potential to have one foot on the ground. So I'm going to show you the pieces and then we'll put them together. So we're going to go back into that squat pose, but don't go there yet or you'll be standing there a long time. And we're going to lift one leg and cross it over, keeping the toes of that foot on the ground. So from the front, it can look sort of like this. So you want to stay seated in that half squat and you're crossing your legs. So almost like you're sitting in a chair. And if you feel confident, you can lift those toes off the ground. Otherwise, you can keep them on the ground. The main thing is that sort of half squat. So you're working with your legs. And then the arms part, we'll be taking the arms out to the side. And you can do this with me now. So arms out to the side. Big breath in. As you exhale, cross one arm over the other. And you can bring your hands to your shoulders. So this is a plenty enough stretch for the eagle arms. If you want more, you can bring the backs of your hands towards each other and maybe even tuck this lower hand in behind the thumb side of your upper hand, if that's available to you. It's a big stretch, so don't force yourself. Being here is just fine. Notice which arm is on top. So if you've got your right arm on top, you're going to eventually shift your weight to your right leg. So let's bend the knees first. Okay, shift your weight to your right leg. That might be enough for you there, just having more weight on one leg. Feel free to stay there. If you're ready for more, you can lift up, cross your thighs, and bring your toes to the ground. Now sit down and let your legs work a little bit. Make sure you're breathing. Good. When you're ready to release, let's undo the arms, and lift the leg, lift the arms, and gracefully float back to earth, or not, whatever happens. Right? So a couple breaths, let that go. You can shake it off. Let go of that effort. So we're going to do the other side. I hope you notice which arm was on top. I'm going to take the arms out to the sides. Good. As you exhale, bring the other arm on top now. And I just did the same side, so I'm going to check for you. So whichever arm is on top, that is the leg that you're going to be standing on. So if you're already standing on that leg, change arms. So from here, breathing in, as you exhale, a little half squat, keeping a little lift in the heart. Whichever arm is on top, you're going to shift your weight onto that foot. Again, you can just stay here if that's enough for you, or you can lift and cross, maybe having the toes on the ground, maybe breathing, lifting them up, having them handy toward the ground if you need to touch down, lifting the heart, sinking the hips. And when you're ready, release the arms, lift up, and again, try to float down with some grace. And again, a little shake. Good. It feels good. So we're going to make our way back to the ground, but let's do a few forward bends on the way. So we'll inhale and lift. Soften your knees, bend your knees as you release forward, exhaling if you're following the breath. And then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale forward. You can come only part way down or all the way down, whatever works. And up. Releasing forward. And maybe one more. This time when you come into that forward bend, go ahead and stay there. It could be hands or elbows on the thighs or reaching toward the ground. If it's right for you, you can allow your head to release forward. Otherwise, keeping the head above the heart, if that's a better option for you. And then when you're ready, we'll come right down to the ground. So you can find your way however is comfortable for you. Either coming to all fours or a squat. But ultimately, we're going to come to lie down. So make your way there in whatever way serves you best. And when you come to lie down, and we'll just give a little bit of time for everyone to get settled. Let your hands rest on your body. Maybe your legs are bent. If you prefer them to be straight, that's fine too. And just start to tune into your breath again. Letting go of the effort of eagle and the other standing poses. Maybe tuning in and noticing any sensations in your legs or feet from that activation from eagle pose, a strong, challenging standing pose. And then again, let's take a moment to notice the thoughts. Notice without a story as much as possible. So let the thoughts pass through. Notice what tries to take your attention. And there's nothing wrong with thinking or daydreaming or planning. It's all about having our own authority over our minds. Let's take the arms now and reach them up toward the ceiling, palms facing each other. And then reach a little higher. So you're lifting up a little bit with the shoulder blades, pressing the spine toward the ground, the upper back. You can take a breath and see if you can even expand that space between your shoulder blades. It might or might not make sense to your body. See if you can find a little bit of movement. And then letting the shoulder blades sink and rest on the ground. Just feel that letting go of effort in your shoulder blades. And then you'll take your hands to your opposite elbows, folding your elbows. And then we'll add a little side to side movement for the elbows and the heads, or the arms, all of the arms, not just the elbows, going to one side, coming back to the center, and then going to the other side. So again, I really, really encourage you to slow down, to notice the sensations as they move across your body, wherever you notice any sensation. Let that capture your attention. And eventually coming back to the center. And then releasing the arms to the ground and have the palms facing the ceiling if that's okay with your shoulders. arms a little bit away from your body to begin with, and then sort of wiggle the shoulders down away from your ears. And then we're slowly going to raise the arms like a snow angel, so along the ground, sliding the arms. As they come out to the sides, you can bend your elbows a little bit. You want to keep the elbows and the backs of your hands on the ground the whole time. You're going to raise the arms up until, again, you feel that first level of resistance where your shoulders say, okay, I feel something different there. Right? And you may need to back off and bring the arms down a little at some point, or you might want to add a little bit more stretch at one point, but just starting at that very first noticing of restriction or change. Even a little bit less than that is good to begin with. And then from here, you just rock a little bit across the back of the sacrum. So taking the knees an inch or two one way, an inch or two the other way. Just feeling that massage across the sacrum. See if you can really feel as your weight shifts from one side to the other. If it's uncomfortable, please don't do this. So if you've got a more bony sacrum, you may even put a blanket or fold up your mat under you if it feels like it's too much pressure on the ground. And then you can start to take the knees a little further to the side as you like. And again, go really slowly. Don't worry about the breath here, but move slowly and really feel where you notice sensation, where you notice stretch, where you notice that you have to engage. Going one way and then the other way. And the exercise here is not so much about the twist, but about your attention. Can you notice those little nuances of change? And if the body or the breath is a focus for you, you can focus there, but you can also still focus on sound. Right? It's just as long as you're right here in the present moment. And then when your mind wanders, as it will, you gently but firmly nudge it back to the present. It's like training a puppy. It's not one time, it's years. For me, it's been 7 years of puppy training. And she's got me very well trained by now. All right, eventually make your way back to the center. Slowly slide the arms back down to your sides. You're going to bring the knees up in toward your chest. You can bring one hand to each knee and we'll draw forward toward the body and straighten the arms to move the knees away. So again, go slowly. Don't worry about how you're breathing. Notice how the weight shifts in the back of your body. Notice where you start to feel compression as the knees come in toward your body. All the little nuances, whatever's true for you, tuning in. Right, and then when you feel complete with that, you can bring your feet back to the ground, knees side by side. And let your hands rest on the body, somewhere where it's comfortable for you. Elbows on the ground, ideally, so you're not holding your arms up to rest on your body, but that they're supported. Knees and ankles can come right together. And we're going to butterfly the knees open and closed here. So slowly, again, taking the knees open, the soles of the feet coming together, moving toward that first level of resistance, and then drawing the knees back together, feet back to the ground. You can give a little squeeze to your knees, pressing them together and pressing down into the ground, and that just gives your lower back a little bit of a release and a stretch. And then you can release slowly again. Again, you're finding where is that level, first level of resistance, and then coming back together. But sometimes your body might want more stretch than that first level of resistance, and that's fine. Right? We're just really trying to tune into where are our edges of sensation and how do we notice? What do we feel? What are we aware of? So it becomes a mindfulness practice, this movement practice. So eventually, if it feels right for you, and you don't have to, you can keep moving dynamically, or you can just bring the knees back together and hang out there. But if it feels right to you, you can leave the knees apart. You may want to support, if you've got something handy, cushions or folded or rolled blankets or blocks can come underneath, really whatever you've got handy. If I didn't have a cushion and a blanket right here, I could use one of those fire logs. So just something to support the knees. Again, if it feels fine for you without, totally fine. If you want to keep moving, keep moving. And if you want to come out of the pose anytime, please do. We'll spend a couple more breaths here. And again, you can come back to noticing where your attention is and bringing it back to the present in whatever way works best for you. So now we're going to bring the legs together really slowly. So like 10 breaths that you could take slowly, 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 an inch a breath kind of thing. And you might find as you do this that your legs start to shake a little bit. As long as you're not uncomfortable with that shaking, you can just allow that to happen. Maybe even pause there and let your legs shake. If that happens, it doesn't always happen. But when you go very slowly and you're using those big muscles of the inner thighs, sometimes they can start to shake. Keep moving slowly, slowly, slowly. Eventually, you'll want to bring your soles of the feet down. Knees will come together. And then we'll do a little bit the opposite movement. So we're going to let the knees come together and walk your feet apart so they're a little wider than your hips. And the idea is that your knees support one another. And then your hands can rest maybe even right on the pelvis or on the belly or wherever is comfortable for you. Even on the ground is fine. But this idea of really dropping down through the weight of your pelvis now. See if you can imagine your breath moving all the way down into your pelvic area, feeling your sacrum and your lower abdomen expand just a little bit with your breath. You may not feel that because obviously you don't have lungs down there, but there are a lot of displacement of your organs that happens. You may feel a little movement. You can also just imagine a spaciousness in the lower belly. So take a few more breaths with this visualization of breathing right into the lower belly. And then I invite you, if there's anything that your body wants to do now, if you want to stretch out or squeeze in or anything, we'll be moving next into Shavasana. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to move around, to adjust, to find a comfortable position. If you want to come back to a seated position, you're welcome to, more than welcome to stay lying down. And again, if there's any movement that your body would like to do before it's going to relax for a few minutes, please take the time. as you start to settle, become aware of what parts of your body are making contact with the earth, whether you're sitting or lying down. And as you become aware of those parts of your body that are making contact with the earth, see if you can imagine those parts melting a little bit, like the floor is, or whatever surface you're on, is warm, and your body is wax, something else that's easily softened. It's not like you're melting into a complete puddle, but just softening those edges. And with each exhale, soften those edges just a little bit more. Feel yourself sink down into the support of the earth. Bring your awareness to your jaw and the muscles that connect the jaw down, front of the neck, front sides of the neck, and down into the collarbones. So that whole area softening the jaw, sides of the neck, the collarbones, the jaw, front, sides of the neck, and dropping down the collarbones in the front of your shoulders. Let the weight of your head sink down if you're lying down, and the crown of your head open towards the sky if you're seated. Chin slightly down so the back of the neck is long in either position. And then relaxing from the base of the skull where your head meets the top of your neck, all the way down, those big strands of muscles that go along your spine, down to your shoulder blades and dropping your shoulder blades down. So from the base of the skull, down the back of your neck, dropping down through the shoulder blades. The base of the skull, back of the neck, dropping down through the shoulder blades. And relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. So drawing a line from the ears right down the sides of your neck to the top of the humerus, the bone of your upper arm. And releasing from your ears, down the sides of your neck, tops of your arms, releasing. And then releasing from the ears, down the sides of the neck, the tops of your arms, and all the way down your arms to your hands and fingers, softening. Softening like wax, a warm surface. Softening with your breath, feeling that gentle wave of breath through your torso. And as that breath moves through you, feel your body softening. Shoulders, the chest, the upper back. Softening around the mid back, the belly, the lower back. Dropping down through the pelvis, relaxing the buttocks, relaxing the hamstrings in the back of the leg, the calves, right along the soles of your feet to your toes. And softening and relaxing in the front of your hips, down the top of your thighs. Softening your kneecaps, your shins, across the top of your feet, right to your toes. Every time you notice your mind has drifted away, notice where it's gone. It's engaged in busy thinking. You might bring it back to the present, noticing your breath or physical body sensations or sounds. Let your attention rest in the present moment as much as possible for the next minute or two. Always noticing when you can, and gently bringing it back. And as you notice with your breath, I will share a chant that is said to bring peace and purification to the monkey mind. Om Pavamana Suvarjanaha Pavitrena Vicharshanihi Yah Potasa Punatuma Punantuma Deva Janaha Punantuma Navodhiya Punantu Vishva Ayavaha Jata Veda Pavitravata Pavitrena Punahima Pavamanya Punantuma Prajapatyam Pavitram Om Shanti 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 Om. Let your attention come to your body, to your fingers and toes. Take a few deep breaths as if you could breathe right down to your fingers and toes. Feel free to add movement as you feel ready. Wiggling, stretching, moving in whatever way would feel good. And eventually, if you're ready to come back into this world, coming upright, you can slowly make your way onto your side, pause for a moment, and just to slowly come to sit. Wherever you are, you can bring your palms together at your heart. So know that having a mind that is under your control is not some strange out there spiritual experience, but really a matter of training the monkey to go in the direction that you want it to. It's like, kind of like herding cats. Right? It's not an easy task, but there's a lot of value there. maybe there's not so much value in hurting cats. Maybe that's not the greatest analogy, but you get the idea that it's a process. And being kind to ourselves in that process is really key as well. So carrying this theme with you, noticing and seeing how in your life you can choose where you go in your mind. Namaste. I think the mind is a little more malleable than hurting cats.